It's hot off the mic. Monday morning quarterback. We talk about Eskimos. We talk about mean church people. We talk about love. We talk about a lot of different things. I almost got God again. There's a lot that happened. But with all that being said, let's check out the clip of the day.
We don't need another letter to tell us how to act. Yes, we should build schools. Yes, we should build ministry hubs that are going to be refuge for the community.
These are things we are doing.
We should build ministry training grounds, but we cannot lose the fact that we're reaching the world and miss out on brotherly love one to another.
So this is the anthem of the day.
Did not even expect this moment whenever I was preparing this sermon.
Really?
Yeah. Did not expect this moment. Did not expect this moment to come out the way this moment came out. And so I was, as I was, kind of working through that scripture, even in real time during the 9 a.m., I thought to myself, we are literally doing all of these incredible things to show agape love and missing out on philia love. Philia. I always have
Whatever
to,
you say.
I always have to see it in my head. Philia. And anyways, I was working through it during the 9 a.m., preaching through it during the 9 a.m., and I had that thought. I was like, wow, we are literally doing our best to show agape love to the world and missing out on philia love inside of the church.
And you said something interesting there, like developing your sermons. You spend a lot of time prepping to get to this moment, but then you even find yourself in the middle of your sermon being like,
Happens a lot to where you're working through a scripture, or you're working through a thought, and then something, like you and Nick sitting on the front row yesterday. That was one of those moments that I didn't have that planned. I didn't know you and Nick were going to sit there. Y'all weren't sitting there because I was going to use it again during the 11. Y'all weren't sitting together during the 11.
Yeah.
And so it's like, but it worked so well inside of what I was talking about. I'm like, biscuit outreaches isn't about biscuits. It's about the brotherhood that you and Nick have made with each other by serving biscuits. We're showing agape love. And then as we're showing agape love, this philia love is bubbling out of us, and we're making these deep connections through that.
Yeah, and what's so funny you said that about the whole Nick thing. He's like, I had a few people come up and be like, that's going to be on the podcast tomorrow morning, isn't it? And I was like, we'll see if he says it in the 11. But we brought it out anyway.
Yes. So that's one of those moments. A lot of those, like, especially humor type moments, I typically don't work humor into my sermons. Whenever you were at a campus, you would get the sermons every week. So you would know, like, typically I'm not working like, hey, say this joke here. If I do, it's typically right at the very beginning. I'm not working through my sermon and in the middle of the sermon saying, hey, tell this joke. It's typically, hey, there's a funny story at the beginning for whatever reason. So whenever those things, that humor does come out, it is typically just in the moment, where did that come from type thing.
Interesting. All right, so rewind.
Yeah.
Go to the beginning. As you see here on the screen.
Confusion.
Disgust.
Oh, disgust.
We'll see why disgust here with Maddie.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This weather outside is great, isn't it? It's horrible. Anyway, so we have Mother's Day is coming up.
It's
That's just my opinion.
confusion.
It's not everybody's, but
Not you. I'm talking about disgust for her, but okay, you're confused.
Confusion for me because I didn't know what was happening with the weather. It wasn't raining. I in my head, I was trying to ponder through. I'm like, what is happening with the weather outside? It wasn't raining. It wasn't a nasty day. It was a beautiful day outside. Temperatures were 10 degrees cooler than, instead of 90 or instead of 85, it was 75 yesterday.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful day.
Yeah.
So when she said that, I was so confused. I was like, what is happening with the weather? Did I miss something?
Maybe she wanted it to rain since we're in a drought.
It rained a little bit yesterday.
You got a little sprinkle.
But yeah, I was really confused as to, like, what is she talking
I think it
about?
really threw you off there.
I didn't understand.
And I don't think she didn't do that in the 9. So this was like
This was fresh in the 11. I
maybe
don't
she
know.
went out between services and
Maybe.
was like, "This is
This weather, and I was like, what happened to weather? It's beautiful.
Beautiful weather. I don't know. We'll have to ask her. Maybe we'll get some follow-up context there.
Well, she's preaching Mother's Day, so is she doing hot off the mic that morning?
If she wants to. I would love to have her. The people want her.
I love it.
All right. So this is a follow-up clip from last week. I posted this.
They caught you again,
They
John.
caught me again.
John.
And I posted on Saturday night. I posted and said,
John.
I said, no camera formed against me shall prosper.
And somebody said to you, just worship. Don't
Yeah,
even worry about them cameras.
Don't even worry about them. And I'm like, I've got to look at them.
And you're like,
somewhat.
You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. It's not that I'm worried about a camera. Like it's not.
I ain't worried about no camera.
It's not hindering my worship.
No.
It's just that I also am worried about a camera. And
Here's the thing people don't realize is when I'm doing hot off the mic, I have to make sure at the same time that what I'm looking at on stage got caught on the camera. Because if it doesn't, then
and there's no
I'm
reason
not
to
able to
pull
use
that
it.
clip.
No
right?
reason to pull that clip. So sometimes I'm just checking to see if I see anything there. And so then when they get me, I get kind of just, you know.
Let's see it.
So I just want y'all to know, I never looked, and I just kept doing my
you
bob.
saw it.
I kept doing my bob.
I caught it too.
But last time, I got all frazzled, and I kind of just did a jump scare kind of thing. That time was more like I was good, more chalant kind of thing, you know. So I'd like to report that I'm.
You'd like to report you caught it. You ignored it.
Yeah, I ignored it.
You pressed through.
Yeah,
Good job.
I ignored it. We
No
pressed
camera
through.
formed against you.
No camera formed against me will prosper. Anyways, all right. So let's go to your sermon now. We got all that stuff out of the way.
Okay.
Let's get to the sermon. All right. This is follow up as well from last week.
Now hear me and don't misrepresent or misinterpret what I'm saying. I love moments like last week where we are dancing around and dancing on graves and you once lived in. I love those moments of high praise. I love high praise. I love it. But I love moments where we can just come into the presence of God full of surrender, where if you got a sore back, it's okay. You might not be able to dance around on a grave, and you might not be able to do all the spins and twirls that people were doing last week, but every single one of us can participate in this moment of surrender. I love moments like this where we say, my hands and praise you again.
All right, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, I was actually talking with Miss Kathy Westover last night as well about this same thing, and she was like, I agree completely with you, Pastor. Like to me, it's a lot easier to dance around than it is to surrender. So, and what I mean by that is in dancing in freedom, where there's a spiritual, like, I am free in the Lord. That is so. Once you jump the hurdle of ignoring the camera, like you did. Once you jump the hurdle of who cares what everybody thinks, that moment then becomes easy.
Yeah.
But sitting in a moment of surrender and saying, God, I surrender myself to you after a busy week, or looking at the week ahead, or looking at the bills on the on the counter, or looking at the fill in the blank, the way my marriage is going, or the way, if I can sit here in this moment and surrender, I love those moments. And often in our church culture, those moments are way harder than just dancing before the Lord.
So, yeah, it's so interesting. And as a pastor, we had this, it was a huge moment last week.
And I bet 30 to 50 people told me it was the best service they've ever been in.
Yeah. And so did you feel, because I feel like who you are, when we go one way and you feel us going one way, you go.
Absolutely.
You got to go.
I'm a balanced guy.
Yeah. And
I'm the balance
so
guy.
was that kind of
Was not the plan, but whenever he told me, he asked me, a couple of options for ending the set, and I was like, I want to end here. I want to end here in this moment because it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Just shutting everybody or shutting down the music and just letting everybody declare, I praise you again and again. Just voices lifted up to him, people weeping, hands in the air, just attention focused on the Lord to say, I don't have anything else to offer you.
Mm-hmm.
Here goes the best that I have to give, and it's me.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And so here goes the beautiful thing. Last week, we thought it's the best service ever because we thought we brought something of value.
Mm.
This week, we can't imagine this being of value because all we brought. Last week, we took this huge, for some people, this huge step of faith to, dance before the Lord or to jump or to shout or whatever it was. This week, we don't think we brought anything of value because we don't see ourselves as of value to the Lord. And so we come into these moments and we say, I did my thing. I offered myself to him, but man, last week I danced before him. So last week obviously was best service ever. And you're like, no, you don't understand.
Yeah. Some discipling there.
Like this is the beauty of who the Lord is.
Yeah.
Like he just wants you.
Yeah. And I feel like it's not just in our worship, but it's jeans and slacks. It's jeans versus slacks. It's the sports coat versus a bomber jacket.
Absolutely.
Or none at all, And I think that's the cool thing about we love it all, and there's a place and a time for all these different pieces of what worship looks
I don't
like.
ever want to get backed into a corner and this is what you are.
Yeah.
This is no, I'm what I am is word driven.
Yeah.
The word says that I'm going to preach it.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I don't want too many things to paint me in the corner, and this is who he is.
Yeah.
This is who they are. You're like, no, we're a pretty good balance. Try our best to be.
Yeah. And one of those things that we, we're word driven, but also we're big on loving people. That's who we are.
For sure.
And you talk about this story, a sermon series you did 7-10 years ago. I'm curious about it.
Words like the word love is so warped in our culture today. I was doing a series about, maybe 10 years ago, and I was doing a series, and every week was on the word love, and we were working through it and talking through it, and this guy that had been serving the Lord for years and years and years came up to me. Now, he was so mean. He was so mean and nasty in life. Like, that's who he was. He was just a mean dude. And he came up to me one Sunday after church, and he's like, all right, Pastor, we've heard enough about love. Preach something else out the Bible. And I was like, obviously you haven't heard enough because you're still mean and nasty.
I just want to know, and I feel like we all want to know, really? Like, that's how the conversation went? Like,
literally how the conversation went. Wow. He walked up to me before church.
Yeah.
Before I'm getting ready to preach, he walks up to me and he says, Pastor, we've heard enough about love. Can you preach a different subject today? And I looked at him funny, and I thought he was joking. And so I kind of giggled and kind of looked at him funny. And he was like, seriously, how many sermons can you preach on love to where, you think it's making an impact or whatever? And I was like, I literally said to him, when people start grasping the concept of love and living out love, then obviously I've done my job well enough and I can stop preaching on love. But as long as people are mean and nasty, then I need to keep preaching on love. Literally the way I responded to him. But listen, this is my life. I know people don't understand.
I know, I was about to say.
People have no clue how, this morning in our Bible reading, it was iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
People don't understand how every single week I get sharpened by someone. Somebody comes up to me and says, hey, that's not accurate. Or, hey, that's not how it was, whatever. And you're just like, okay. Like yesterday, hey, I love the book that we read, but whenever I didn't like chapter 8 because he painted Mary Magdalene this way and she wasn't that, she was this. And you're like, okay. I've never done a deep study into what you're saying right now, so I can't say that I've ever heard what you're saying, but interesting. But people always, they think it's their duty to help steer the ship. So I'm constant. That is constant conversations every single week. Got an email this morning. Yeah, constant conversations.
So then you have to figure out, senior pastors, y'all have to wade through.
Yeah, and so I would say that to the guys watching this, like, hey, listen, like, this is normal. People coming up to you after you preach. Like,
And it doesn't stop at whatever level you get
man,
to.
it doesn't stop. People come up to me after I preach all the time and say, you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have used that illustration. You shouldn't have whatever it is.
Your worst sermon, your best sermon.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Your biggest crowd, your least crowd.
Doesn't matter. Our most impactful time of the year is sacred season. It is so beautiful. This weekend, I heard somebody left our church this year at Sacred from somebody down the road. Doesn't even come to church here. Said, "Hey, I ran into this couple. Asked them why they left the church. They told me it was because of your sacred season." And I was like, "What about it?" And they were like, "They didn't like that you gave the offering at the end." Like, yikes! That's so stupid. Yikes! So something that is so like beautiful around here, so impactful inside of our church. People leave the church because of it. So listen, to the pastor out there, this is commonplace inside of our culture, our church culture, where it's very consumer driven, where it's very much what can you do for me? How can you bless me? What am I getting out of this? And that culture, they're trying their best to sharpen you to make you what they want. Rather than you shutting your ears to them, turning your attention to the Lord and making sure you're following His leading.
Because at the end of the day, we're trying to disciple individuals, but at the same time, we have a church that we're trying to make sure is fulfilling the mission and vision that God's given.
Yeah, it's a weird balance as a pastor where you are a shepherd, but you are following the good shepherd, and you are trying your best to be, I'll use the word, apostolic and taking the church forward and winning new ground for the kingdom of God. You're trying your best to be, Great Commission driven. And so you're balancing a lot of that stuff that you're working through and trying to figure out, the best decision in every situation. And then there's some people who are, who they see the church differently. They see the church as, hey, this is a place where I heard two clips from sermons this past week where one guy said the church is meant for believers and one person said the church is meant for non-believers. And you're like, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And at any point you stop and just focus on one or the other, I think you miss the heart of the church. Not at any point. There are points you can just focus on one. And points you can just, but at any point, like the vision of the church is I'm just focusing on believers.
Yeah.
And you're like, yikes, that's, or if any point you just say, I'm just focusing on non-believers, you're like, yikes.
Yeah. Interesting. Again, the balance. It sounds
balance.
Like. Well, speaking of how hard it is to balance things and all that good stuff, can you imagine being an Eskimo? Describing how snow is falling.
We have no clue. Eskimos have 7 words for snow.
7
different words Eskimos use for snow, and we just say.
Can you imagine?
It's nuts.
Can you imagine?
We use the word love for everything. I love pizza. I love my family. I love my favorite sports team. And Eskimos have 7 different words for snow.
So I did go and look it up. And
what are
it was
they?
like. Oh, I can't tell you. I would butcher everything. I did have it pulled up, but it almost seems like the way it's falling. So or that
like a wet snow or a dry snow,
a blizzard.
Or a blizzard. Yeah,
it's like okay, this is the type of snow that we're having or whatever. I thought that was I thought it was interesting because you're then talking about that with all the different words used for love.
Yeah, in our culture, we just say love.
Yeah.
So I love my wife. I love my kids. I love pizza. I love football. I love the Broncos. I love like like all those aren't the same word. We've made them the same word, but they cannot be the same word.
Yeah.
But then you work through Scripture and you find out that those actually in Scripture aren't the same word.
Yeah.
They're very unique, different types of love.
So I did have this question because, there's the different words for love in the Greek or whatever, and you tried really hard to pronounce them correctly. Instead of normally, you would go into your and you would try to play on it a little bit. Was there a reason why you were more serious, more?
Because two of them I had to say. Agape, I know. You obviously know how to say agape.
Sure.
So agape, I know. And then philia is one that I'm preaching the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't, mispronounce that a bunch. So then you only have two in the middle. And those two in the middle seem so easy. Like, storge, it looks like it looks like an easy word to say. Eros looks like a easy word to say. And then you look at them while you're preaching and you're like,
and having to go through. And it was funny. I think you actually got caught up on one, or got caught up on just a regular English word, but you were like,
no doubt.
but it was like the Greek. You were strong. And I was
No
like,
doubt.
all right. But I thought it was interesting.
Probably for the first time in a long time in my sermon notes, I have philia, and I have it parentheses philia.
Yeah.
I actually have it written in my head. I know it's not phonetically correct, but in my head how I would have said it.
Interesting.
So same thing for each one of them.
Interesting.
Storge, that's how I had it written.
Okay. So let me ask you about this. Let's play this clip, and let's see how this goes.
I Eros love her, right? I passionately love her. She's the only one that I do that with.
So you hear some people chuckling there, and it's because Maddie, in the middle of the sermon, she yelled out something like, "I better be the only one," or something like that. My question is, when Maddie does that, because sometimes she'll do it, just, y'all do that back and forth in sermons sometimes. Does it catch your attention? Do you feel like you have to do anything with that, or?
Typically, depending on if she is talking to the people around her or if she's talking to me loud enough where the church can hear, I think that would determine on whether or not I respond or not. Typically, there's times where she's she'll look over at whoever and be like, you don't know what she's saying, but if I catch what she's saying, I will try to respond in some way.
Yeah, funny. All right, so let's go to the culture of Myrtle Beach.
Oof.
Myrtle Beach is diverse, a lot of
transplants here.
Yeah.
A lot of people who have moved into town because they love the beach or they love, they want to retire in warmer weather, and so they've moved here.
Yeah.
Listen, we live in a weird culture here in Myrtle Beach specifically, all of our campuses, but Myrtle Beach specifically. We live in a weird culture where so many of you left so many amazing friendships to move here for the beach or for retirement or whatever, and you've got to this place, and now you long for some of those brotherly love type friendships that you used to have growing up. Now you're looking around a room full of acquaintances, and you're like, man, I enjoy the church. I like the church. The church is awesome, but I wish I had some people who loved me inside of the church.
I hear this all the time from people.
Yeah.
People who say, I just miss the relationships I had back home. I just miss the people that I had, interaction with. I just miss my brothers back home, whatever. And you're like, I get that. I totally get that.
Makes sense.
Totally get that.
Yeah.
But don't let missing them stop you from building foundational pieces in your life here.
Yeah.
I think about Ken and Linda Griffey, who moved away. And then last week, the Fowlers moved off, or I mean, not moved off, went out there to Texas to visit with them. And I'm like, it's because they built such a brotherly love here that they, I think about Kyle and Monica or BJ and Lisa, like they moved away, but like we are brothers. Like, whether it doesn't matter that there's 500 miles between us, we're brothers. And so I get those moments, but just because Kyle moved away or BJ moved away can't stop me from building a relationship with you or with the next person that comes in.
I think it's what makes the local church so awesome, and why I talk about it the way I talk about it and the way we talk about it is because, like, we say our life is like centered around the church, and one of the things that helps that is the people who are in our lives.
Absolutely.
Like when we have you guys, or Sim or Kate, like, and Christy has certain people, and we walk in and we feel that connection in a church service, but also in a group or an event or whatever.
Even our staff is in such a way that I honestly think if I said, "Hey guys, we're coming in on Friday, not to work, just to hang out. You don't have to come, but we're just going to come in and play games, grill out if anybody wants to come."
Yeah.
I truly believe we'd have 90% participation in our staff. And the only reason the other 10% wouldn't is because they want to sleep in or because they had other plans of golfing or whatever that day.
Yeah.
But I truly believe, like, we just enjoy spending time with each other that much.
Yeah. And it makes you, like, I love the local church, but then these are some of those things that are around it that make you say, man, this helps me stay rooted, plugged in, committed, supported in those moments where I need that.
Yeah, and we can't separate you from the local church. We are the local church.
Mm-hmm.
And so my relationship with you is solely based upon the local church.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we leave the local church tomorrow, our relationship would not be what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It just wouldn't be. Why? Because we're committed to the local church.
Yeah. I love it. So now we're in Love Illuminated.
Love Illuminated.
We got a couple days, depending on when you're watching this, or if you're in May watching this, it is Love Illuminated month.
One another. We're walking into the series, this Love Illuminated month. This month, every day we have a different outreach plan to reach the community, something different, something unique. Lots of opportunities for you to show Jesus to the world.
What a cool month.
Agape love to the world. Sacrificial love. You going out there with nothing in return. Nobody's giving you anything to go out into the world. You're just wanting to show the world agape love.
Yeah, so where did this start? How did this come to be?
So 10 years ago or so, we did Love Illuminated. We've done Love in Action. We used to do a week. We weren't able to do months just because we didn't have enough people and we didn't have enough resources to be able to do a full month of it. And so last year, whenever we started this back, and I will say, like, this caught my eyes. I'm looking at this. This is the third week in a row where we've asked for the blue letters to be changed for the campuses.
Mm.
And so even still, we still have blue letters. So remind me to talk with production and see if we can get those changed this week. So yeah, Love Illuminated was the heart of let's reach the community, let's figure it out, let's walk through this, and it got to the place now to where last year I talked with Samantha and I'm like, can we just we have campuses now, can we just do something every single day? And so we cast vision for it during Sacred Season a couple years ago, and that was one of the things that, when we gave at Sacred Season, it was one of the things that we gave to was putting this in our budget now, and so it's something that we've budgeted, and here we are the next year still saying this was so vital, so important that we're doing it again.
Yeah, it's cool. I enjoy it. I think it's going to be cool for.
I mean, you started a biscuit outreach and kept it going all year long because of that season.
Yeah, it's. I think it's beneficial, and it builds, like you said earlier, builds community, builds relationships inside of local church. So I'm excited for what it's going to bring for us. All right, so I was about to do a Hulk Hogan impression there. Like, let me tell you, brother. But let me just play.
Listen to me. Listen, this is not popular. Shocking, right? They're like, whatever. When you ever preach anything popular, Pastor Jamie?
Well,
I love all the things that we're able to do in the community. I love all the outreach events that we do. I love the people that we
just talked
minister
about
to. I love taking the light of Jesus Christ into the world. I love it. The agape love of Jesus Christ, selfless, just going into the world with the agape love of Jesus Christ. But do you know how the world will know that we are his? Not by the biscuit that we feed them. Not by the treats that we give them. Not by showing up. That's not how the world will know that we are his. The world will know that we are his because of the way we interact with each other when we get there.
How crazy
hear me.
is that?
You can show up with a bunch of treats for a bunch of firefighters and walk in mean and nasty. Touch my treats. I'm giving these treats out. Go walk in mean and nasty with each other inside of the firehouse and hand them treats and do all of the things right that shows that you are, check, you did it. You went and delivered treats to heroes. Good job, great job. But if you're mean and nasty to the people that you're delivering with, you know what the firefighters are going to say? They don't love Jesus.
that's so true.
It is so true.
So true.
We can show agape love, selfless, sacrificial love. We can take the day off to go do something. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We could go on a missions trip across the world to show agape love with people and be mean and nasty, and people will think they don't love Jesus.
Like, as you were talking about it in this moment, I think of a few different times where we get on mission to show agape love, and in the midst of doing it, between the people serving, you can see different like personalities rise up, and people like getting their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, aren't we supposed to be like, we're gonna go love people?
Concert night.
Yeah,
It's tense around here.
the usher job, man,
It's
is
tense.
intense. People need to find their seat.
Yeah. And they sent somebody to you, and you sent it over there, and they sent it back to you, and you're like, "Oh, what are you doing? Tell that stupid idiot that," But
Tell them I told you to tell them.
if you're not careful, a night where we have built with a desire to show agape love, if we're not careful, we will show that we don't love Jesus based on the way we interact with each other.
Gosh, I hope that was a check for a lot of people.
I hope so as well. I hope Carson pulls this clip today.
I hope so too. Maybe she will.
Probably not.
Probably not. All right, so let's go next clip here. All right.
I remember I was on a mission field, and Scott Slate and I went on a trip.
talk
And it
about
was
some
so
stories.
hot. It was like 1,000 degrees on this trip.
That equator's
Putting this-
different, though.
We were staining this playground, and all of a sudden Scott got
I was gonna
really
say monkeyed
goofy
right
and went
there,
over
but
into the
I didn't know if that was
shade and just laid
culturally
down in the
appropriate
shade
word
and
anymore.
started
It's
making
tough.
up songs that he was singing. And we laughed. We still sing the song to each other. We laughed. It was so much fun. I didn't know Scott going into that missions trip, but all of a sudden, because we served together, there was a bond created between us.
What's the song?
He was singing to me because I kept going. I kept staining and told him to go take a break. And he was laying in the shade, drinking water, as I was staining the playground. And he was singing, "He's my shepherd, he's my pastor, he's my friend. He's my shepherd, he's my pastor, he's my friend." And he had this whole song lyric of, "He's my shepherd, he's my pastor, he's my friend."
Really?
He wrote this song, and it was so funny.
We got to get that produced, I feel like. I feel like that'd go a long ways.
We should definitely next Mission Sunday have him come up and sing that for everyone.
That's how we open. I love it. You got any like more stories like that? Like, I know you talked about some flooding happening and people gather around, but do you have any more, call them war stories?
Yeah, I think we talk about this a lot, how much we love the war stories, like the hurricanes that are coming through and we're boarding up the church in the middle of the night, or the at the other church, it was always flooding, it felt like,
Yeah.
and so, you're scrambling to empty out the pond and, so the retention pond so that it could, catch the water, things of that nature. All the building projects are always, huge moments. Moving in here was a huge moment. So there's always those like, those call to action, all hands on deck, we need you, let's go.
Yeah.
And those moments are your favorite.
There's just something about them. I don't know.
And everybody else is miserable, and you got this huge smile on your face, and you're like, this is ministry right
Yeah.
here. You always say that. You're like, this is
ministry. I mean, we do ministry all the time, but
Yeah.
this here,
Yeah.
right here, this is ministry. I love it.
What's the one that stands out to you?
One of my favorite ones were you told the story about the flooding into the foyer, and we're just outside getting soaked, but we're like digging ditches.
And we weren't digging with like shovels. We were digging with like plates.
Yeah, like anything
We didn't have a shovel. We were like taking plates and scrubbing out the dirt to try to dig a trench away from the church.
I think about CVR. I think that was one of those. Yeah, when we were having to replan around that Winterfest time in COVID, I think there's a lot of stuff that I'm just like, those were some for some traumatic moments, but somehow we made them fun, memorable moments. Somehow they marked us
and created brotherly love.
And created those brotherly love moments.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, let's play this clip.
There's so many opportunities to find relationships around here. So many opportunities.
So
Somebody
many.
asked me after church, they were like, hey, what about us single folk? Where can we find some relationships? Just let me know. I will do my best to hook you up with somebody around here.
Just kidding.
I'll find you somebody. I'm just kidding. I'm
Just
just
kidding.
kidding.
Go see Johnny.
Go see.
Did I say go see Johnny?
Johnny's in charge of singles. Go see
Johnny's in charge of like singles. Like some we got a lot of people that go to our church who don't know no better.
Oh, Johnny in charge of singles. Go see Johnny. He'll hook them up.
We got a lot of people who
Matchmaker.
think you're serious, and they're gonna be like, "Look, I'm looking for someone who's 6'3", blue eyes, curly hair, and prefer a full-time job."
I love it.
And I'm gonna be like, "Honey, that's not what he was talking about." So I'm definitely gonna have somebody.
Singles ministry here.
Singles ministry. Here we
see
go.
Johnny.
You want to grow your church?
If you're looking for a man or a woman that loves the Lord, Johnny has an Excel spreadsheet of all of the people that are single based on age, based on height, he's got it.
I have a Microsoft form that you'll have to fill out though prior to me finding love for you.
Yes.
So,
bro, we're doing this right here on Hot Off the Mic.
So make sure we will do this on Hot Off the Mic. Somebody fill out this form and we will find you somebody live.
Deal.
For real? I'll post the form on the congregation page.
No, we're not doing that.
We're not doing this? We were going down the road.
You see that face I have right there? Caleb, click that camera view.
Can you smell?
This is the face that I'm looking at you right now.
Can you smell what
thinking,
the bishop is cooking?
Man, I wish I could cock my eyebrow. All right, let's play the clip.
There's
people around here that want to laugh with you.
Yeah.
In a righteous way.
In a righteous way, yeah.
I just warn you, prior to getting into a relationship with people are weird, man.
Yeah.
They're weird. Like, yikes.
9 a.m. service, that dude was like, all of us are weird. I was like, easy. Not all of us.
Yeah.
Hey, good to see you. Hey, how you doing? But all of a sudden, you hang out with them on Monday, and you're like, "Ooh. Maddie, what is wrong with them people?" Y'all hung out with them too? Okay, good. Good.
All right. I think this shows how good of a pastor you are, because you can stand at the pulpit and say, "Look, y'all some weird people. Like we're just
like, yep, we are.
yeah." But I think it's too because there's just this love that they know that you have for everyone in the room.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think that was well noted there in the moment. But I think it's just who we are, and we kind of accept who we who we are.
I think knowing that I am you are the king of weird.
King, crown me.
So I think they know that if I'm hanging out with you, king of weird, then it's okay to be weird.
It's like a marketing for weird people. It's like
King of weird.
come to Palmetto Point Church. We reach weird people.
Listen, I think the cool thing about weird people is everybody is weird or quirky in their own way.
For sure.
And so there's people that the world would look at and say, that dude is so successful. He's so, his business is booming and all this sort of stuff. And then I go hang out with him, eat dinner with him, whatever. I'm like, oh my goodness, that was so exhausting talking about his business and how committed he is to all of his things while he told his wife to shut up and, not paying attention to his kids. Like, that's exhausting. That's weird to me.
Mm.
Right? And so weird is in the eye of the beholder.
Mm.
Weird to me is that you would surrender your life to chase a dollar.
Mm.
That's weird to me, man.
Yeah.
So weird is in the eye of the beholder.
So interesting.
People look at me and they're like, you are so weird.
Yeah.
Like that you chase after Jesus like this. Like, this is really your life. You know what I mean? People ask me that. This is really your life. This is what you want to do?
Yeah.
Is this real? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is really my life.
Mm.
Really what I want to do.
Well, weird people, you're welcome here.
Yeah.
We
Because
love you.
everybody's weird to a certain extent.
Everybody's weird.
It's according to who you're asking,
Yeah. And you kind of said this at the end. This is kind of getting near the end of the podcast today. But Mama had
Hear
some
me.
advice for you.
If you don't have friends,
Maddie said, don't say it.
it's probably
She looked over.
it's probably your fault. Okay.
Finished
My
it.
mom always told me growing up, if you want friends, show yourself friendly. Right? So, if you want friends, hang out after church.
This is hilarious. We'll take the first part and then we'll
Okay.
go to the second part.
Okay.
Because you look over like, and Maddie's like, don't
say it. Don't say
it. And then you're like, it's your fault.
Your fault.
And then it's like, okay. And then we get to the part of Mama's advice was,
If you want friends, show yourself friendly.
yeah. Yeah.
I promise you, if you're a friendly person,
Mm-hmm.
people will gravitate to that.
And what are some ways to show yourself friendly? What do you think?
Let me count the ways.
Count them.
Smile.
Mm.
Encourage people. You know what I mean? Like, be friendly to people. Be nice to people. Be kind to people.
Yeah.
Like, serve. And I don't mean like the church. I mean like serve people.
Yeah.
Don't talk about yourself all the time.
Mm.
Listen to other people.
Yeah.
Tell me what's happening in your life. People's favorite subject matter are themselves.
Facts.
So instead of talking about yourself, just say, "Hey, tell me about you."
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're gonna let me talk about my favorite subject matter. Oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
I want you as a friend. Wow. Little things like that, man. Just small, simple things that you can do.
Interesting. Taking notes for myself.
Stupid.
I need friends.
Stupid.
I need friends. Well, at the end, I didn't put this in the clip. At the end, you had the little tug with baptism. We didn't see anybody necessarily come down at first, but you've had this moment where you told Lexi to stay, and you kind of had a moment in the crowd, and pretty immediately someone moved in response. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not these big moments where you have 10 people. Sometimes you have the one person who needs that moment. And so I thought it was cool to see you do that at the end there.
Yeah.
But service was good.
Amazing.
We're coming out of words from the word, and now we're going into who knows next.
Let's do it.
Until we meet
Pentecost Sunday
again,
on the way.
we'll see you.
Peace.